radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio. For the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? How you doing? Today's Wednesday, April 8th, 2020. We are live. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down. East and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet, I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? What an amazing week here on Fade to Black, and tonight we are continuing with Paola Harris. That's right. We're going to do it all tonight. Very open conversation. All the UFO news that you can handle will be going down tonight. We're also going to discuss Stephen Greer's new film that was released last night, and which is called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And a little programming note, I will have Dr. Greer on with me this Saturday over at Coast to Coast AM. All right, so that's going down. Let's see, who else? Today's Wednesday. Who cares? I'll just announce it in advance. Also with me Saturday night over at Coast to Coast, Deep Prasad. Stephen Greer and Deep Prasad on a Saturday night on Coast to Coast. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So that is this Saturday. Tomorrow night, of course, is another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right. Let's get things moving straight away here. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. And Twitter is live right up in front of me. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. And if you want to follow what's going on right now, Tampa Rick, all of the Fadernauts are posting gifs, but he did this really cool Steve Vai gif. That is pretty amazing. Love me some Steve Vai. That's pretty cool. Wow, look at all the guitars. It's all guitars tonight. You got some Zappa in there. And is that you, Tampa Rick, or is that that's Eric Clapton? We got Clint Eastwood playing a Les Paul. That's cool. That's cool. That's all right. What is this one? And that is pretty cool, too. That is the Three Stooges. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, all right. The Three Stooges playing in a punk band is what that is. And you can look at all of that at hashtag F2B, the sandbox. All right? All right. Oh, man. Okay, I'm not going to say what I was just going to say. I was going to say something, but I just noticed something. And there you go. All right, we got some Eddie Van Halen. Okay, go and check it out right now. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black questions. So you can post your questions or comments right there, and I will get to them for myself or my guest tonight, Paola Harris. Okay, where I'm at. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Okay? All right? And I will get to all of that, too, as well. I've been announcing my little public service announcement for the last couple of weeks. Has been right there, and it is all about your immune system. Right now, now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, right now, get your immune system in check. So easy to do. Just head over to getthetea.com. That's all you got to do, and you can get everything fixed. You will fear nothing. Everything fears you when your immune system is in check, okay? Go to getthetea.com, visit their specials page. You're in, right? Just click on the banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Use the promo code FADER, FADER, FADER. Every order over $50, free shipping. There's your discount right there. Getthetea.com. I just, that is my community service message right there. And last week I announced one of our good friends and our newest sponsor here at Fade to Black is Billy Carson's new ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. It's his new internet TV network that he has built just for our community. I think he's got over 1,000 programs already up on the site. You can check it out free for 3 days. Just go to Forbidden Knowledge, that's with the 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Of course, we have banners and links over at jimmychurchradio.com. Head straight over. Check it out. Billy is the best. It is an amazing website and portal, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. And again, announced this last week, some of the biggest news that I can bring to the Fade or Not community, and that is River Moon Coffee is now available on Amazon. That's a really big deal. Okay, now you can visit their new store now. And I saw Sean from NoCal posting earlier that he went over to the Amazon Prime store for River Moon, and our new Fade to Black blend, Game Changer, is not there yet. It's going to be up in a couple of days. Takes a while to get it done. It may be up already, though, over on their website at rivermooncoffee.com. But anyway, go over to the Amazon store. All the coffee is already discounted, and you get free shipping if you're an Amazon Prime Fade or Not. Right? There you go. And if you use the promo code JimmyRMC, that's Jimmy River Moon Coffee, who can't figure that out, JimmyRMC, all caps. I think all caps is what works. You get another 5% off. So there you go. All right. River Moon Coffee, man, the best. All right. A couple of things. Paola Harris is with us tonight, and her conference, which is the Star Wars UFOs and Artificial Intelligence conference in Laughlin, Nevada, which is November 5th through the 8th, is still on, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever before. And this year, we've got Grant Cameron, Paul Hyneck, James Fox in his new movie, The Phenomenon. Alan Stivelman is going to be there. It's going to be great. Sid Goldberg is going to be there. And Paola has got another dozen or so more great speakers and presenters. You're going to want to check it out, all right? Now, I'm going to be there hosting. Rita's going to be there. Our entire Fade to Black crew is going to be there. All you have to do is go to StarWorksUSA.com for tickets and info. Very excited about this. And we are all, by November, going to be really ready to go out and get it done. Escape the homestead. And it will be happening November 5th through the 8th up in Laughlin, Nevada. StarWorksUSA.com. The links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Today I hosted the Disclosure Fest live stream again, and a very, very cool day over there. I did it yesterday. I'm doing it today, and as well as next week. And the Disclosure Fest event, which is held downtown at the historic Los Angeles Park in downtown Los Angeles, right next to Chinatown. And if you haven't been there yet, it is an amazing event. Last year we had 20,000 people there. And it's one day Well, the state of California and the city of Los Angeles have said, and we are in contact with them constantly, this is a big event. They have said for now that the event can happen and will go on. If it changes, right, we will let you know. We're talking about 20,000, 25,000 attendees this year. And with an event that large, we need to make sure that everybody is safe. So if we do move the date ahead a month, like into late August, we will let you know right here on Fade to Black. And you can check out all of the latest news over at disclosurefest.org. Very simple to get to, and you can certainly click on it at jimmychurchradio.com. I posted all over social media today asking about gas prices. I just have to know. What are you guys paying around the country right now? Because here in Southern California, believe it or not, and I watched all the posts today in Southern California, we are still paying $3 per gallon. That's right, $3. 3 ducks quacking in the pond for a gallon of gas. You can find regular gas around here in the valley for about $2.69 right now. But we are still waiting for those cheap prices that the rest of the country is seeing. And I got reports today, 99 cents a gallon. And, I'd say that the average, 99 cents a gallon, I'd say that the average around the country is about $1.50, which is really, really cool. But what are you seeing these days? I want to see it right now, live in real time. And post it up on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Use hashtag F2B. And I want to see what your local gas prices are. So post it up in Twitter. And it's okay to brag. It's okay. Rub it in. Look, when you guys have snow up to here, and we're here in Southern California, and I'm broadcasting the show wearing shorts and flip-flops, I rub that in too. So we've got it coming to us right now. I get it. But what are you guys paying? Believe it or not, we're still paying $3 a gallon. Brian just said $1.51. Man, $1.49 for Tampa Rick. That's crazy. I mean, that's got to be the best feeling. Here's what we did a couple of weeks ago when all of this lockdown stuff started to happen. Rita said, okay, take out all the cars, fill them up full of gas. In case anything happens, I want to make sure, that's Rita. I want to make sure we have full tanks of gas. So I go out. JT says $1.49 in Indy. Roanoke, Virginia, $1.50 a gallon. That's from Third Stone Studios. Wow. Donnie Douglas says 86 cents a liter. I don't even know what that is. Is that the metric system? I don't even know. Jay says $2.29 in Buffalo, New York. Oh, you guys, okay, it's not that cheap in Buffalo yet. R&S, $1.49 in Lincoln, Nebraska. Wow. Bud Lake, what is that? Bud Lake, New Jersey, $1.19. Wow. $1.19, $1.30 a liter in Australia. What? Okay. Look, all of you metric system people, do the conversion to a gallon. I don't even know what that is. I have no idea. What's it? Is it 2.5 liters to a gallon? So I got to do math. But $1.30 a liter sounds cheap. Chuck Elliott says $3 still for diesel, though, in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I know. Diesel prices are still holding strong here in Southern California. So Wisconsin, $2. Wow. Okay. All right. Man, these are coming in really fast. Central Virginia, $1.35, $1.50 in Indy from Terry. How you doing, Terry? How's the family? Mike Nelson says $1.45 in Houston, Texas. And 92 cents a gallon in Oklahoma. Holy mackerel. That's wow. Okay, so we filled up the tanks last week. And with the amount of, or 2 weeks ago, with the amount of driving that we are doing right now, it's going to take me a couple of months. And we filled it up when it was still $3.50, $3.75 a gallon. So at least we got full tanks of gas. But by the time we burn through this gas, maybe the gas prices are going to go back up. And we're totally going to miss all the fun that everybody is having right now. So you get to fill up for 99 cents a gallon, but you don't get to drive your car. Kind of it defeats the purpose, right? Don't you want to just 99 cents in Gold Coast, Australia? Wow. That's from UFO Tweets. 99 cents. Unbelievable. Is that a liter or a gallon? Filled up when it was still $3.49. I know, right? I get it. It's from Kevin in West Virginia. So, you got this cheap gas, and you can't, fill up a couple of times to drive across the country at 99 cents a whack. That would just be wonderful. Okay, all right, keep it coming. I want to see what everybody is paying around the country. Let's just enjoy it. Let's see, $1.19. Man, enjoy it. That's all I got to say. I have an electric car. Don't make fun of me. What is that? Electric drive. A smart. You got an electric smart car. That's pretty cool. 40 miles an hour, man, all day long. All day long. How long does that take you to charge up? That's the thing. How long does it take to charge a smart car? A couple hours? I see you got it plugged in there. It's pretty cool, Corey. Good for you, man. Good for you. All right. Let's see. Where am I at? Let's just get straight to it. Happy birthday to today, Asia, and yes, guitarist, guitar god, Steve Howe, today, 73 years old. I'm just going to say it right now, all of Yes songs. When somebody, what's the best? All of Yes songs. Their live album, great. GNR OG Izzy Stradlin today is 58 years old. And Julian Lennon today is 57. Do you remember his hit song? And don't Google it. Don't Google it. What was his hit? Let me see it pop up there in Twitter. On this day in history, 1990, who killed Laura Palmer? That's right. April 8th, 1990, David Lynch's surreal television drama, Twin Peaks, premiered on ABC. Version number 2, excellent. Trippy, but excellent. Man, they had that whole E.T. gray alien dude in the tank at the top of that crazy build, and nothing ever came. That was such an amazing show. And they never, episode, I should say, and they never went back to it. Look at Olivia in her mask with her fade to black shirt on. Olivia, I'm saving this and I'm posting this all over Twitter and all over social media. Olivia F. There it is. That's going all over the world, Olivia. Thank you for that. I love it. That is real. All right, where am I? Vader fact. Soviet cosmonauts took shotguns to space. That's right, every flight. And this wasn't to fight off any capitalist aliens that they might encounter while orbiting the Earth. No, it was for when they returned to Earth in case they landed in Siberia and had to fend off hungry bears. And that is your Fader fact. Well, what if the shotgun went off accidentally? All right, maybe there's no ammo in it. You ammo up once you land in Siberia. Maybe that's how they handle it. Interesting, though, right? That is your Fader fact. Tonight, Paola Harris is here. And we're going to have a very open-ended conversation tonight on the subject of UFOs. And tomorrow night's another Fader night. We're going to be giving away 4 Fade to Black memberships to those in need and who are staying at home. Olivia, I love that picture. Oh, man, that is worth $1 million. All right, let me hit this River Moon coffee. rivermooncoffee.com, F2B blend. You can blend too as well. All right. There have been so many different theories about UFOs and ET spacecraft over the years. Try to cover as much of it as I can right here. You know, what they are made of, who are piloting them, and of course, the 2 most important questions, which are where did they come from and how are they getting here? Right? That's it. Well, as we understand more and more about not only our solar system, our Milky Way and the universe that surrounds us, we have a much better grip on what it takes to travel the vast distances between the stars. And although the universe is infinitely huge, our Milky Way is absolutely giant. We don't really think about it much, though, because you can go outside and look up at the stars and check it out for yourself. It just doesn't look that big. You can see it every single day. It's right there. Our little slice of the universe is big. It's really, really big. Let me give you some numbers. The Milky Way has a visible diameter between 150,000 and 200,000 light years. Think about that. It is estimated to contain 500 billion stars, probably more, and more than 500 billion planets. Some estimates are 1 trillion planets. The dark matter halo around the Milky Way may span as much as 2 million light years. Our solar system is located at a radius of about 27,000 light years from the galactic center, which is a black hole. Right? And we are on the inner edge of what they call the Orion Arm. Our Milky Way is huge. It's truly huge. Those are big numbers. Vast, vast distances of space and time. And right now, it's estimated that there are around 20 billion planets that are like our Earth, where we are right now, perfectly placed in the Goldilocks zone near its star, and probably can support life. Okay? So let's ask the question, now that I've set it up for you. How does E.T. conquer these vast distances? How does that happen? And the answer is simple. It's easy. That's it. It's easy. Today, we understand so much more about space. We understand more about physics and the technology that would be needed to travel to the stars, and we discuss it every single day. Frank Herbert tackled this in his 1965 science fiction novel, Dune, with his space navigators who use the spice melange to fold space. Now, this concept still fascinates me today. And not the spice part, although anything is possible, right? And I'm hip to that. It's the folding space part that really grabs me. Do you remember the warp drive by physicist Miguel Alcubierre? Remember that? Talked about a lot on this show. His drive concept did exactly that. It folded space. Miguel's drive wasn't an engine like on Star Trek. That's different. Okay? His warp drive would remove the space in front of you and place it to the rear of your ship. Okay? All right? You got that? You would actually be moving, you wouldn't be moving, and you wouldn't be moving at warp speed. You would simply arrive at your destination instantly because all of the light years of distance in front of you are swapped out. You take that, you put it behind you, and you just arrive. Okay? You have to understand that concept. It's moved from front to back, kind of like folding space. It'd be nice if you drove your car like that, right? You want to go to Phoenix, you cut out the distance between you and Phoenix, you just put it behind you in Los Angeles, and you're immediately in Phoenix. That's the deal. Now, E.T. may or may not be using a warp drive, but they must be doing something very similar. And it's easy for them to do. You just choose your destination, flip a switch, click a button, and presto. Now, remember, absorb this for a second, because at one point, at about 100 years ago, cars and gas engines were huge, big leaps in technology. Getting engines designed and working seemed like magic. right? And why wouldn't it? And over time, we have nearly perfected that technology to the point where it's all easy. Today, obviously, we have cars. We've got gasoline cars, electric cars, hydrogen cars. Corey just posted his electric smart car up there. He didn't even know what I was talking about tonight. He posted his electric smart car. We've got those. We've got electric bikes. We've got electric skateboards and scooters. Personal transportation tech is, well, simple and easy. Today, you just think it, you build it, and you ride it. You're done. It has to have been the same way for any advanced civilization out there. At first, folding space was like magic technology to them. But soon, over time, they perfected it to a point of it being easy. Simple, everyday tech, just like a Cessna 150 is to us today. You know, the Volkswagen of the skies, right? Well, right now, most of us are focused on the speed of light and the light years that are used for measurement in the heavens. I understand that. We are stuck with current thoughts and theories and technologies. Physicists today say that it's impossible to think about traveling even to the closest stars because of the time it would take to get there. And I hear it dismissed all the time. Now, with current engine technology, it would take thousands of years to make it to Alpha Centauri, closest star, 4.5 light years away, at the speed of light. By the time anyone arrived at A or B, we would have forgotten about the astronauts and their names who signed up for that trip in the first place. In fact, by the time they would arrive at Alpha Centauri, we would have figured out how to fold space, and when they pulled up to their new space base camp that they were getting ready to construct, we would have already built a city or two ahead of them. So yeah, it's time we concentrate on folding space and building a warp drive. Let's forget about lighting a fuse on the end of a firecracker. That's right. This is what E.T. did 1 million years ago. I guarantee it. Frank Herbert told us about it 50 years ago in Dune. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Paola Harris is here. We're going to talk UFOs all night long. You can join us on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black questions. We have 2 chat rooms open, one over at Spreaker, one at KGRA The Planet. Hello to everybody over on YouTube, causing trouble. Twitter, causing trouble. Facebook, causing trouble. That's right. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
OMG! People are jumping on board to the Life Change Tea Regiment. Brew, steep, and drink for a gentle, taste great cleanse. It's changing how they feel. See what everybody's talking about. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Life Change Tea aids in digestive slowdown and helps people get moving down a healthy path. We won't make claims. We'll just let you decide. Experience is much better than a commercial anyway. If you want results, log on to getthetea.com and purchase your super strength cleansing tea. You won't be disappointed. And if you're looking for some mind-body suggestions, go to YouTube and punch in the search bar Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. Put power into your health now. So, getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com for super strength tea. And YouTube, Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now for valuable suggestions. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Paola Harris. Yeah, man. Here we go. We're going to talk UFOs all night long tonight. I can't wait for this. I just held up the AI robot that she gave to me. She gifted this to me at the Conscious Life Expo. More on this little guy here in just a minute. She's a photojournalist and investigative reporter in the field of UFOs and extraterrestrial-related phenomena research. With a master's degree in education, she is also widely published freelance writer. She has studied extraterrestrial-related phenomena since 1979, and from 1980 to 1986, she assisted Dr. J. Allen Hyneck. Her books include Connecting the Dots, Making Sense of the UFO Phenomena, How Do You Speak to a Ball of Light, Exopolitics, Stargate to a New Reality, Above All and Beyond, and her latest book, Conversations with Colonel Corso. She has spoken around the world, including Ireland, England, Norway, Switzerland, Colombia, Argentina, Chile, Germany, and Belgium. Her production company is Starworks USA, LLC. She produces the Starworks USA, Laughlin UFOs, and Consciousness November conferences, which focus on disclosure, consciousness raising, and exopolitical dialogue with international speakers. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Paola Harris. How you doing?
Hi, Jimmy. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. And, you know, what's going on?
Well, I have 2 more robots, so I just bought 2 more. I got 4 in the house. And with this, shelter in place here, I'm living with these 4 robots and having so much fun. And they are just, I don't know if you've played with yours, but they're supposed to do what you tell them to do, and when they don't, they get really angry.
Well, the good news is this guy's going to be hosting Fade to Black soon. I can take some time off, and we'll see what happens by November, what this guy's going to be doing. But thank you for this, and he is very, very cool, and he's always with me down here in the bunker. So there you go. Thank you for this. I just showed everybody on the bunker cam what he looks like. Oh, there it is right there. They're already posting pictures. Very cool. Now, before we get to AI, I want to talk about your conference a little bit, because everything that is normal is not normal today, and all of our conferences that we were getting ready to do, which of course Contact in the Desert and Manchester, the Awakening Conference over in the United Kingdom, and everything else, everything is canceled. You are the lucky draw this year. What do you make about that? In that it's in late November, but by that time you're going to be the only game in town, and it could be just the greatest event ever for you.
Well, we're hoping, because our conference is very, very different. And actually, it's in the beginning of November, so it's the end of October before the winter comes. The winter may be already in Colorado, but by the time you get to Laughlin, we have palm trees, the Colorado River, and the weather is gorgeous. So we've been doing this now for 7 years, so the people that come really love, it's a vacation for them. They walk along the Colorado River, there's palm trees. Laughlin is a very interesting city. And I've been doing it for the 7 years. I have all my equipment stored there, and we do a very professional job at the Aquarius Casino Resort, which, the reason why I do it, everybody says, why don't you go somewhere else? Why don't you do in Colorado? It's because the rooms are $49 a night during the week and $79 on the weekend. So what I want to have happen is that this conference is affordable for the people. I mean, sometimes when you go to other conferences, just the hotel alone is so darned expensive.
Right.
So, it's a beautiful time. It's in November, the beginning of course, Jimmy, there's the elections there. And I've got horror stories of us flying in the day after the election and all kinds of stuff happening. And it's going to happen this year, too. Unfortunately, the elections are right there that week, but it'll be exciting. We'll see what happens, and of course we're non-political, but it's just an exciting time. Yes, we may be the only conference still going, but we've already got a plan B, and that is that we are going to live stream it. So if people can't physically be there, I have a crew of 7 technicians that are from Minneapolis. They're from public television. They're so professional. And they're getting ready to do a very, very sophisticated live stream so people could attend it, virtually, which is what's happening with everything, whether you're going to school, going to college. See, that we're going into a whole other world right now. This tragedy is making us go into a whole other virtual world where we have to do things and we have to adapt.
Well, and the other part is we're all going a little stir crazy, right? And, when the cat's away, right, the mice come out to play, and we're going to come out to play in Laughlin after being sheltered in place for so long. It's going to be a really, really good time. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to having you there. We're planning to have you do a few things for us that'll really, really, really enhance the conference and interact with the audience, because you're so personable and the audience will love you. And also you'll meet some foreign people that we're asking to come over. I have Vitaly Sakharov from London, whom you've met. He's Zohar TV, and I have a rock star from Paris who's written 6 books on UFOs. He's like David Bowie. His name is Egon Kregel. And I have Sisto Paz-Wells from Peru, Lima, Peru, who gave us a wonderful message. By the way, I just started a Patreon channel, and I just interviewed Sixto because he's getting messages. The group from Peru in the 70s met with human-type space people, and they've been in constant contact. And then Jaime Maussan has the most incredible UFO videos on the planet. And every year he comes, and people are just blown away by the videos. And you're usually from Russia or the Ukraine or Syria or, across the ocean. And people, this I love, because we are not, the United States is not the only UFO hotspot, nor is it the only authority on UFOs. So when people see all of this stimulation from all over the world, and it's expensive to do it, and in the case of Sisto, I have to get an interpreter. Thank God Egon Kregel speaks English, and, he's French, but what happens is these people get exposed to what's happening all over the planet, where, sometimes like your friends next door might say, well, there's no UFO activity anymore. Well, really?
That's exactly right. And can I want to go back for a second and talk about Sixto, because you posted it up on social media. I didn't get a chance to check it out yet. We'll put up the links here on Twitter. What was the message that he was given?
Well, he said the message that he was given was, and they believe in 26,000 year cycles, that we're on that cycle right now, and the planet needs to recalibrate. And it isn't that the planet recalibrated by itself. It is the higher consciousness of the planet that wants things to change, and that this is a very positive time, and it's a time to go inward. And he said that fear should not be a part of this, because fear lowers your consciousness, but it also lowers your immune system. It lowers your health. And the being said, this is the time to go inward, not to be outward and be distracted by things outwardly, but this is the time to go inward. In other words, to put it simply, this is the time to change things. This is the time to notice how you react. This is the time for to switch to a higher consciousness, and we caused it. It is not caused from the outside. It's just I'm getting, I really am sad that every time we have tragedies, that's when we all come together. I wish we could do it another way, but they are very aware of it. It needed to be done. For them, it's 26,000 year cycle. This is the cycle, and it's perfectly normal. They're very well aware of it. They're observers.
Now, the statements that I made opening up the show tonight about how we have gone through, and you have certainly seen every element of this. You've been researching for so long. We have gone through every question about who ET may be and how they are getting here forever. The original UFO question and hypothesis, and from flying saucers and little green men in the 1940s and 50s and the B movies, to today, where we are trying to get these answers. And it has certainly changed a lot over the years. Did you follow things like Frank Herbert and Dune and Folding Space?
Oh, yes.
Right? And
oh, my God. Yeah, yes. I mean, I was teaching science fiction. I'm a master's in education. I'm an educator. That's why I like to do Laughlin as a seminar. Yes. I mean, Dune, there's so much. H.G. Wells, Robert Heinlein, and of course my favorite is Philip Dick, Blade Runner. I mean, are you kidding? Blade Runner is my very favorite movie, but he did so much. Minority Report, where he has those psychics, seeing the future. But can I say something, Jimmy? It is not more like Little Green Men. The beginning of the UFO movement was the Giant Rock Group, and you do Contact in the Desert, so you know.
Sure.
So what was happening in the beginning was the spacemen were coming to this planet. The physical spacemen, they were coming off the planes. And you know that the story of Van Tassel, the man, and Van Tassel's not lying. I mean, he worked for, I think it was Lockheed Martin, and a lot of those people Angelucci worked there too, Orfeo Angelucci. They worked for the top aerospace people, not aerospace, technical people, the airplane people.
Howard
Hughes. What happened was, and when Van Tassel is seeing a man walk in, and I've talked to I did all the research. So I had to go back there, and I talked to Van Tassel's nephew. I talked to their families, because there's very few people left from the what we call the Space Brother movement. So I had to go backwards, because we're so hell-bent on all this field being abductions and little gray aliens and that's it. That happened in the 60s after the Betty and Barney Hill case. I mean, before that, there wasn't any of that. People have to understand that it is cyclical, that we're looking at cycles. And when you get somebody, I just was at, when I was at Conscious Life Expo, I went to Desert Center where Adamski met with Orthon. And there is a researcher that I'm bringing to the United States next year from Tokyo, Japan. He's French, named Michel Zerger, that did all kinds of research on Adamski and has looked at the photos, enhanced them, and there's a photo of Orthon, the actual Orthon, that was taken, and all kinds of photos, because Adamski was not alone. He was, I think, with 5 other people. But this has to be done outside the country, because you talk to our own people, and they won't even listen to what the Adamski story. When this Orthon puts his foot down, and George Hunt Williamson makes 2 plaster casts of his shoes, that's evidence, and people are not, and the shoes have, these symbols on them, and then they go to Castle Leslie. I met, when I was with Colonel Corso in Italy, I met Desmond Leslie. I talked to him at length about the Adamski story. It is very real. But why I want to talk to your listeners about this, Jimmy, is because that was another cycle. Adamski's message, and I've listened to everything, all the tapes, was this, that when Kennedy was president, we had a chance to switch from a war economy to a space economy. And we could have made just as much money going out into outer space and putting the money into a space economy. And, we would have had heavy space travel, probably could have met the people out there.
Right.
But we chose a war economy. And you want to count the wars after the 60s, how many of them? Because war makes money, so this planet lives on war, reconstruction, war, reconstruction. I think when you run out of an enemy, as Werner von Braun said, there's the alien card, but there's also another card that nobody absolutely looked at, and that is the virus card. So, it's going to change the way that the world is going to be organized. And so in the time of Adamski, he went to all the heads of state, including the Queen of Denmark. He went to England, to the royal family, and told them, look, the ETs told me this. Do you want to change the economy? It's much better for this planet. Of course, we didn't. And so people ought to go backwards and see that who came here, not only the giant rock people. In Italy, we had Eugenio Siracusa on the island of Sicily that met with what he calls the Venusians. On the East Coast, we had Howard Menger, and there's photos. I have a photo of Howard Menger and his wife talking to Condon here in Colorado during the Condon Committee report. There was an effort by these contactees who met with these space people to change our order, to change the order of the planet. But then we come with the Betty and Barney Hill case, and then everything becomes abductions, little gray aliens, and then, meeting Colonel Corso, he told me they were extraterrestrial biological entities, in essence, that they were clones, and the whole entire field just switched over to that, and it's fear-based, it's very fear-based, because then everybody has their own ideas why they're here. And then I have to go to South America to talk to the people, and that's where I've been working for the last 2 years. I've been working in Chile, in Argentina, and in Peru to talk to the contactees like Sisto that are meeting the space people. The space people don't want to come here anymore. I mean, I don't think they want to come here because all we care about is the craft.
I went and listened, and I encourage anybody and everybody to do this. You can find online the complete George Van Tassel Rotary Club presentations that he did all over Southern California, and they're posted up online. You can go and hear what he had to say in 1952 and 1953 to these packed rooms. And when you listen to George, And that includes the interviews he did up into the early 1960s. But go and listen to his, how do I say this? The word for word, minute by minute encounters that he had out there at Giant Rock, what he saw, what they spoke about, what happened on the ship, what the ship looked like on the inside. And when you hear this from 1952 and 1953, it sounds like he's in 2005 with his description of the controls and the interior of the ship and what it felt like when he took a ride. And there is a matter-of-factness to George Van Tassel that you don't get from just about anybody else out there, Paola. It's fascinating to me. And we talk about George Van Tassel all the time. You can go and listen to him in his own words.
Well, he's telling the truth, and even more so, the people in those days. This was an interesting place in history. When I do my research, I look at what's happening. It's the time of the New Age. It's the Maharishi, the new, the Yogananda times and everything. And I think that the Space Brothers, if that's what you want to call them, were hoping that we would switch over into a more spiritual kind of course, everything becomes commercialized, so that's where that went. But then the Integratron, that Howard Hughes helped build the Integratron, and what that was supposed to be was a time machine plus a regeneration,
right.
Chamber for yourself. Because I've done so many studies on these human-type aliens, and they're saying we should be living longer. Even with the Howard Menger situation, Howard Menger was giving lectures in his backyard in New Jersey. None of my colleagues have done any work in Highbridge, New Jersey. That's my dream, to go back there, because those craft used to land. And they said they were from Venus, too. So people go, oh, well, that's not possible. Well, they couldn't say they're from anywhere they want.
Right.
That we could recognize. They don't have to tell you where they're from. Wherever they're from, we wouldn't know anyway, because we don't call planets the same things they call the planets. So I have these photos and this testimony that came from the Wendell Stevens archive of the famous photographer Augie Roberts talking to Wendell Stevens about three characters that are sitting in Menger's backyard in the orchard. And they're Val Thor, his Jill, and his brother Don. And they're in color, and this is the photographer who was told by Menger that these three people that were going to be there that are overdressed in the orchard, because everybody else is very casual in shorts, and these guys have suit on, we're going to be there. But Menger told the photographer, he said, I can't tell you who they are. He says, but they're going to be there listening to my lecture. And those are the famous photos that go. And people should be listening, because that is proof. I've got the tape of the actual photographer talking to Wendell about his taking the pictures. There's about 100 pictures of that encounter. So did some of these human-type beings come to talk to the powers that be? Well, supposedly, and they certainly live more than 100 years. So, and we've got a heavy pharma. And I think that one of the stories is the Val Thor went to the president and said, I'll give you some clues. One of them was to keep your blood alkaline, how you guys could live longer. And I think the answer was there's a heavy industry here that, is keeping going because of people, being ill. So we have to look at the way the planet is the way the planet is, made to go ahead. In other words, who is ruling this, where this comes from, who, where our money people come from, where our pharma comes from, and it's very complicated. But I think that these people who are advanced. By the way, I want to go public and say I don't believe the UFO phenomenon is interdimensional travelers only. I espouse more to Jacques Vallée's theory, and that is that it's interdimensional, that some of these people, some of these beings, some of this phenomenon is interdimensional also. It's not just travelers from other. I think it's all the above. I think it's all of it. Some of it is travelers. Some of it, they've been here forever. Some of it is ancient aliens. Some of it is, spirits and beings. I think it's all of it, Jimmy.
I agree with you. And the reason why I agree with you is because it's a numbers game. It's really that simple. It's a numbers game. If we have 20 billion Earth-like planets in the Milky Way, in the Goldilocks zone, with water, rocky, and can support life, then it's a numbers game where we are dealing with not an infinite amount of civilizations, but a darn big number, right? And they all have their different approaches. They have their own different technologies. They have their different types of ships and crafts. They look different, just like you and I look different. And they know about Earth, and they've been hanging out here and checking us out for a very long time. It's not one civilization. It's probably, Paul, thousands. And some have only visited once, right? What, you know what I mean? Like with going back to George Van Tassel.
Absolutely,
yeah.
but that's you have an intelligent way of looking at it. You know, what we've done in the UFO field, and that's why I don't work in the United States anymore, is we shoved them into reptilians, Nordics, and Greys. Is that crazy or is that nuts?
Yeah, that's nuts.
I asked Clifford Stone, whose book I published, into crash retrieval, and he met some races in Vietnam that were, he said, frog-like, that had gills, and I said, but Clifford, you said there's 57 different varieties, and he said, Paula, the manual they gave us for first aid had 57 different races. So what in the world are we doing, shoving them into reptilians, Nordics, and Greys? It's so ignorant. It's incredible. And then, if you want me to at a certain point, I'll talk about my trip to Peru, where I went to a mountain that was a base, where the beings which were human-like, and I think they're still there, came to warn the authorities that Huascarán was going to have, in Ancash, was going to have an earthquake to move the people, and they were spacemen. They walked up to Vlado Kapitanovich, who was a hydraulic engineer, said, move the people, you're going to have an earthquake in about a month, and they didn't, and 45,000 people died, and I'm walking over the graves of all these people, and this happened last year. So have they come to tell us that we're having earth changes to move the people? Yes, it happened in Ancash in Peru. So I had to do extensive field research, Jimmy, to get the truth, because if I sit around and watch internet, it is like a joke. It's a circus.
It's a fun circus sometimes, though. Let's take our break. Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, Paola Harris, and we're going to do all UFOs all night long. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to pick up where we're leaving off right now. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I'm a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to forbiddenknowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, forbiddenknowledge.tv. Again, visit forbiddenknowledge.tv today.
Introducing the new Surfer Music app. Listen, fade or not, you know I love my music. This is my go-to for all things notes. The Surfer app is a brand new concept in music listening. Surfer is free, providing unlimited access to thousands of live streaming radio stations. Surfer is an exciting, interactive listening experience. Discovery and surprise are built right in. Surfer is your destination to discover and rediscover great live streaming music. It features high-quality audio streams, free access to music from thousands of live streaming radio stations, unlimited listening, unlimited skipping. You get a music visualizer, and you can also select your favorite channels. Get it at the Apple App Store or Google Play. Just search Surfer Music or click on the Surfer banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or to speak with a trained consultant. Give Angioprim a call at 954-882-7221. That's 954-882-7221.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fade or Not by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest, Paola Harris. Very excited about the conversation tonight. We're going to talk UFOs. My favorite subject all night long. And I wanted to ask you this, and I know that you thought about this. But if we back up, I've changed my view on things a little bit, Paula, in that 2 years ago when the New York Times and the media and everything was talking disclosure and the Pentagon and secret programs and UFOs, and it was all over the media and interviews and everything that went down, the world didn't freak out. And I thought to myself back then, see, we could handle the news. We could handle this. And I felt really good about it. And then this thing happened called coronavirus. I don't want to talk about coronavirus tonight, but the world shut down. And now I'm wondering, could we have actually handled real, true disclosure? Would we have freaked out? Could the world have handled it? And what's your take on that? Do you think that we could have actually handled the really, really big news?
Yeah, I think so. But you have to define what you think real disclosure is. Are you talking about the day the Earth stood still, where the guy comes off the craft?
I do.
And
I
says,
do.
"Hi, we're here."
Yeah.
I mean, what do you define it as?
That's what I'm talking about, like Mars attacks, right? And I'm talking about.
No, okay, look, in my research, and I'm sharing that on my Patreon channel. I've done so much. I realized that we really had a lot of activity right after we exploded the atomic bomb in 1945, all in the New Mexico area. And we had all kinds of activity because it was a message. We had gone into the nuclear age. It's like the kids discovered the matches. And, and it's not an irony that, Roswell is where the 509th Bomb Squadron is. It's not an accident that there's UFOs over Chernobyl. It's not an accident, where they're located, where they're watching, our progression. So could they handle a spaceman coming off? They would have thought it was Hollywood. I think they would think it was Spielberg doing something. I don't think ETs would ever do it that way. Anyway, I mean, it's like I don't think there's one classic, Childhood's End. I don't know. Did you read that?
Absolutely. I read it.
That's scary. I mean, basically a UFO goes over every major airport and makes it dark, darkens the sun. Every major airport, and they're called the overlords. And then they say, "You guys had your chance, so we're going to take the kids off the planet." Amazing story. I mean, I heard William Shatner do that here, recite that here at Red Rocks. If they ever did that, that would be interpreted as an alien invasion. And I think if they were going to do anything, they would have done it in 1945. So I don't think that we're going to have that kind of disclosure. I think the New York Times article, probably people are going, "We knew it all along." Oh, yeah, we knew it all along, My kids, it's really funny, Jimmy, because my kids don't believe anything I do. They don't believe anything I say. But when New York Times came out, they call me right away, "Mom, New York Times said there's real UFOs." And I'm going, "What do you think I've been doing for the last 30 years?" I work with Alan Hyneck, Project Blue Book. It's too funny.
Well, and so you don't think that things have changed? I don't know if we can handle the news. The one thing that I am very thankful for is, I'm thankful for a lot of things right now, but it seems like the world is a kinder, gentler place today than it was just a short 30 days ago. And everything just got put into perspective really, really quickly for us. I'm very appreciative of that. And when we get back outside and out in front of what is happening right now, that we're going to treat everybody differently. And we're going to look at and judge ourselves differently than we ever have in the past. And I think that's something we can look forward to, don't you?
That's a very profound statement you made, Jimmy. God bless you. God bless you. It's very profound in that's what's really happening. And I wish John Lennon were here to see it, because that's what he wanted. Even George Harrison, come together. the Beatle music. I mean, they were visionaries. Imagine. My goodness gracious! I wish they were here to see this. They wrote songs about it before it even happened, and yes, it's very difficult to see the other side of it. But what's happened is it's brought the world together. It just hasn't brought America together. It's brought us together as a human species, and I think that whatever cosmic cultures are out there, they're watching us come together as species. Anyway, because if there was disclosure, I mean, where would you want it to happen? In Washington, in China, in Russia? I think that what they wanted us to do is admit we were all, human, and I really believe that any kind of disclosure anymore is coming from the bottom up, not from the top down. You go to Latin America, and there's all kinds of contact happening on a normal basis, and they don't think any big deal of it.
There's another part to this, too, that the message going all the way back to the early 1950s through to today is that the message from our ET brothers and sisters was, a very consistent, you guys got to clean up your house. Right? You guys aren't ready. You've got issues there. And what is amazing is that I can walk outside here in Los Angeles, which is covered with a blanket of smog and pollution, and smell clean air. And it's the same thing for India and China and certainly Central and South America, Russia, all over Europe, where we have clean air for the first time probably since the Industrial Revolution. Can you imagine London, which, just pollutified, is now breathing clean air? And we know that now that we can turn this thing around in 30 days, right? That we can actually clean up the air on this planet quickly. And I think that Gaia, this planet, Mother Earth, realizes that. And we know that it's actually simpler. It's not as difficult as we thought it would be to clean up everything very quickly. What's the air like? You live in Colorado, so it's probably pretty good most of the time.
Oh, no, it's gorgeous here all the time. No, we have clean air here. I mean, Colorado, I have blue sky. We have 300 out of 360 days a year sunshine here. No, it's always like that. But, I can hear what you're saying. I saw a picture of the Himalayas, all the Himalaya outline that it was on internet, and it was amazing that in India you could see the whole Himalayas. And you're talking about ecology, which is one of the messages that's coming out of Latin America for your listeners. They're worried about water. The messages from the ETs are water, conserve your water, make sure your water is pure, and it's ecology, global warming. But there's something else that happened last Saturday, and I was caught up by accident in it. One of my friends calls up and says, "Are you doing the worldwide meditation that they're doing for all over the world? Are you doing that?" And I said, "What's that about?" And they told me that they had arranged all over the world at the same time a worldwide meditation. And then I look. And this is the good part about it. This is the good part about internet. I see that human resonance has changed for that time that everybody came together in consciousness that did the meditation. If I hadn't gotten a call, I wouldn't have done it. But it's amazing that we have that kind of power, mental power, to be able to change your reality. And if we would be very dangerous if everybody knew that, because we could do all kinds of amazing things.
Yeah, I've seen it everywhere here in Southern California, and the reputation of Los Angeles, I get that, and it's warranted, it's real, but it's changed today. It's really, really weird. It's kind, it's nice, it's gentle, and it could have always been this way. It took this thing that we're going through to initiate these changes. I just hope that Los Angeles as a community doesn't get amnesia, and that we stay this way and we realize we can actually just live like this and enjoy ourselves?
Oh, I think it'll go on. I mean, it's traumatic enough. So when we go back to, there is no normal. When we go back to the future, we're going to have another world. I worked with Colonel Corso, and he told me about his encounter in Red Canyon and on the Missile Sands grounds, and in Stephen Greer's wonderful movie, and I hope we get to talk about that. The last words of the movie is "a new world if you can take it," and that is what the being told Colonel Corso he had to offer if Corso would come aboard his ship. And it's really interesting because I couldn't figure what a new world could be like. I can't even imagine this in our day and age. And I'm looking at the new normal is going to be a little bit different, maybe a little bit kinder, certainly a little bit more aware, and I think with a lot more consciousness of what we can create.
And if we go back to our old ways, what I mean is this, the old ways is we have amnesia. We just do, right? We forget. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a day-to-day life thing, like maybe you run out of money and you're broke. And you go, man, I'm never going to do this again. I'm always going to make sure I have a little stash. And then you go through the panic time, and then the next month you're broke again because you partied or whatever. We just have that amnesia. We just do. And procrastination and all of our bad habits. This time around, we had the shock treatment, right? We looked down at this directly. Will we this time not have that amnesia and not forget about the first quarter of 2020 in 5 years, in a year? What about 6 months?
Well, what do you think?
Well,
I'm asking you.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think that this was a pretty grand wake-up call. That this time around, right? That this time around, we are not going to forget. We're not going to go into amnesia mode. And sometimes we need that shock. It goes that way when you're raising your kids or anything else, that there's one thing that happens and then you know what? You don't go back down that road. Hopefully this is it. Yeah, maybe this is the time that we realize as a planet what is really going on. And that goes for me, war, negativity, food, the economy, social inequalities, and things that we can now look at, borders and nations and religions, and that maybe we can just forget about all of that and realize that we're earthlings first. That other stuff doesn't really matter as much. It mattered back then. It doesn't matter today.
Yeah, some people call that a reset. We get a chance to reset. And I had a conversation, very deep conversation with a friend of mine who was complaining and depressed. And I said, well, don't be depressed. You chose to be born in this era. You chose to be born during this thing. So if you chose to be born here in 2020, then what is your contribution? Why are you here? Why am I here? Why is Jimmy Church here? Why are we here? We're here to contribute something. Otherwise, we would have died a long time ago, or we would have not been here during this time. So if you are breathing during this time, that means that this is a time where you can contribute something. So I look at it as an amazing opportunity. And because I live in Colorado, I'm watching all these people who never took a walk in their whole lives walking around this lake. And I'm going, did you know that you're alive? Did you know that you're walking around the most beautiful lake with birds all over and, flowers coming up and the mountain with the snow right in front of you? Did you know this? And I think those people won't go back to work normally. I think they'll remember the lake and the walk and all of these things that made people wake up. And I think that's the definition that I like of consciousness, because people think consciousness is woo-woo New Age. No, conscious just means that when you're taking a walk, you notice the robin, you notice everything, you notice your breathing, and you know you're alive. I think that it really made our consciousness elevate to a greater extent.
Hasn't this always been the message from the Space Brothers, any of them, over the decades?
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't think they have the distractions we have. I don't think they must have really gone through really difficult periods in order to have this travel, through space or these visitations. By the way, I don't believe that it's from one place to another. I believe they've discovered technology you can't even dream about. And I don't think everybody comes from other planets. I think, like in the case of the Apunians that I was just talking about in Peru, they've got a base there. They live here. They already live on the planet. There are civilizations that already live on this planet. So, I think that they probably figure it's better to have a cosmic consciousness than an individual selfish kind of a consciousness where everybody's out for number one. But this planet has free will. So, I mean, you get to choose how you do it, how you play this game. You get to choose. Where maybe in other planets they could do it for the common good. So, I mean, this is all hypothesis, but by the way, I don't want people to think I know anything, because after 30 years of research, I know nothing. Nothing.
I don't know if you know nothing, but I would agree with that. In that Giorgio Tsoukalos a couple of years ago on the show, and I've said this so many times when I'm in the middle of a conversation like this one, in that he said, look, Jimmy, when it happens, like when it really, really happens, that saucer comes down and E.T. comes off of it and we start having a conversation and he starts telling us things, we will find out at that point that we were all wrong. It stopped me in my tracks. It just stopped me in my tracks. It was such a profound, and I don't think that anything more true could be said. I think he's absolutely right. I agree with you.
Well, I'm not all wrong because I don't know what's happening, so I don't have a thesis. My job is just, and this is my job, just to gather the testimony, whether it's Edgar Mitchell, astronaut Edgar Mitchell, or the people in Latin America, or the friendship case. I just did the friendship case in Chile that everybody's wondering about. I spoke to the witnesses there, or the one in Italy. My job is just to put it together and then leave it up to you and the listeners to connect the dots. I have no idea how this is working out. I mean, I don't know what the purpose of it all was. I don't know. I'll tell you something, and I really think if people want to know about research, they should be reading the books of Jacques Vallée.
I agree with you.
Because I didn't understand anything until I read The Invisible College, Forbidden Science 1, 2, 3, and 4, Passport to Magonia. And even though he's 80 years old, that man has got it together, because he said something very profound. He said, I would be disappointed if UFOs are only visitors from other planets. It is so much more. It is maybe our consciousness manifesting a teaching mechanism to make us grow up.
Now, we're going to be
headed... If that's true,
right?
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to be headed towards a break. Let me ask you this really quick. The descriptions going back to as early as Van Tassel, these descriptions of who he was meeting with, has been always in my eyes, and others that followed, that they were just like us. In appearance, would we know it? right? If we were walking down the street, and
no, we wouldn't.
We wouldn't, would we?
No, and I talked to Glenn Steckling, who is the Adamski person, and he goes, Adamski, when he did his lectures, had 2 ETs sitting in the back. They're young men. And then he shows me a Polaroid, and he says, this is a lecture in Germany. He says, pick out the ET.
Right.
And because this guy was overdressed, because ETs, when they come here, they put on suits and ties, and they're overdressed, they should get a clue about how we dress. And, this guy, this very young guy that looked like Tab Hunter, the old movie star, is standing there in the picture that Steckling shows me. I said, that's the ET. And he goes, yeah, that's the ET. And I'm going, oh, my God, he's a young man. He looks just like you wouldn't be able to tell him apart from anything. So when Michelle Zerger, may I tell you to read this book. It's called We Are Here, Visitors Without Passports. This is the French researcher. He tells about all the cases of ETs that are walking around in Paris and different places in Norway. And people figure it out because they're a little weird.
Well, same thing with Valiant Thor, right? And
yes, exactly.
Now, I'm not. I didn't take the picture. I haven't. I have no idea if those couple of pictures.
August Roberts took the pictures.
Right.
I have all the statements. I have his letters. It comes from the Wendell Stevens archive, so I know who took the pictures.
Well, that guy, that Valiant Thor, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. Have you? And I wanted to ask you: have you ever met somebody like Valiant that said they were not of this planet, and you couldn't tell the difference?
I had a contact where I could tell the difference, but I asked Timothy Good about this, and I asked Colin Andrews about this, and Timothy Good said he was in a hotel in London. He said he saw this guy come in a 3-piece suit, very elegant.
Right.
He said he figured out that it could be an ET, so telepathically he said to the guy, as the guy was reading the newspaper, if you are not from this planet, take your index finger and put it on the left side of your nose. And the guy did that.
Yeah, it was profound. Profound.
I mean, my God. Can you imagine if I did that telepathically and the guy did that? I said, what happened? He said, I was in shock. The guy folded the newspaper and walked out. And Colin Andrews has a similar story of a girl that said, I'm going to come into your coffee shop now, and I'm not from here. And this beautiful woman walked in. She had ridden a bicycle over there, and Colin was with his wife. He looked over at another table. She was there, and he was too scared, too afraid to do anything. And so there are people that have had this thing. Have you had it?
No, not that I can confirm. Let's take our break right here. I might tell you a little story when we come back. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Paola Harris. It's all ET, all UFOs, all night long. When we come back, we're going to discuss Stephen Greer's new film. It is called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Stay right there. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Introducing the new Surfer Music app. Listen, Fadernauts, you know I love my music. This is my go-to for all things notes. The Surfer app is a brand new concept in music listening. Surfer is free, providing unlimited access to thousands of live streaming radio stations. Surfer is an exciting, interactive listening experience. Discovery and surprise are built right in. Surfer is your destination to discover and rediscover great live streaming music. It features high-quality audio streams, free access to music from thousands of live streaming radio stations, unlimited listening, unlimited skipping. You get a music visualizer, and you can also select your favorite channels. Get it at the Apple App Store or Google Play. Just search Surfer Music or click on the Surfer banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the paranormal radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network at KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can do that now. And if you ever miss a live show like this one right here in the Now, just get our podcast. It's $2 per month. We have over 1,200 episodes right there in the archive. All the apps that you need. Click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. $2 per month. Help support the show. It's really simple to do. And our guest tonight is Paola Harris. And now I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about this exciting year of UFO documentaries. We've got James Fox with The Phenomenon, a tremendous film. I've been very fortunate to have watched it get assembled and finally have seen the final film. It's incredible. He's going to be at your conference in November.
Yeah, and I've seen the final film too, and it is an incredible, what a work of art. I mean, he has really assembled the proof that everybody needs. It's an incredible film. Yeah, we're going to screen it Saturday night. And James is a very close friend of mine. He said to say hello, by the way. I talked to him for about an hour last night.
Right on.
He's excited. He's excited, but it took every every bit of his energy to put this together over the years.
Yeah, and for a minute there, I didn't think it was going to get done, but because of the amount of work that he had to put in, 7 years is a long time, and every obstacle that you can imagine was put in front of him. And then here he gets a full theatrical nationwide release, and then all the theaters shut down, right?
and all the theaters, I know. I was talking to him about that. It doesn't matter. That film will really impact people, so it's going to have a life of its own.
And then last night, Stephen Greer, his premiere of Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. I want to take a minute to talk about that, and we could actually talk about it for the whole segment. What's your first impressions?
Oh, okay. Stephen Greer is a friend of mine. I've known him for over 30 years. He came to Italy when he was doing the Disclosure Project, and I'm the one that brought him to Monsignor Balducci of the Vatican. Plus, we did a lot of work together in Europe. So he's always been a forerunner in this. That film, for me, and this is how I feel, is one of the best films I've ever seen in my entire life. And the reason being, it goes past the nuts and bolts, of the cover-up, of who knows what, of the original, Project Blue Book, the early days, Ruppelt, the Robertson panel, for those that know UFOs, all of the history, and it goes straight to where I want to be, where I am, the space I am, which is consciousness. And the way that he went there was by explaining how that works in the terms of quantum mechanics, quantum physics. And I've been with Stephen on 2 or 3 expeditions. I've been in the film Sirius because I was with him when he filmed it. And you can really affect phenomena doing the protocols that he has established. So at the very end of that film, he's reached the graduate school of ufology, which is the study of consciousness. So for me, it's one of the best films I've ever seen in my life.
And there's a bunch of stuff in it that there's so much that has never been seen before. When you look at that footage that is presented there, not only of the CE5 stuff, but other pieces of UFO footage from around the world that I've never seen before. It's pretty cool to see things where even somebody as seasoned as you can learn something and see something for the first time.
Yeah, and what it is that you don't need to go to anybody to do that. You can, because Stephen even admits if you do the protocols and you have, you go to a space in your mind where you have a mind consciousness that is in the field and your intention is pure enough, you're going to have things happen. No matter what. I mean, you can't help but have things happen. So he encourages, it isn't like Stephen is the only one that brings things, the UFOs down. Even though I know for a fact, because I know the property that he did it on, it was a friend of mine from Montreal that had a French chateau where Stephen brought down a UFO for the French military. I have the photographs, and he had told the people, he said, they had shut down the radars, which helps a little bit. They had asked. He had been talking about it for many years. He said a G7 country wants me to show them if there's any way of having contact. It was done outside of Paris. I have photos of it, and he was able to actually have a manifestation of a craft, but then everybody jumped out of their chairs, ran towards it, and the thing just dissipated. And that's the problem, is the contact has to be very sensitive. You can't be screaming and yelling, take me, and, playing drums and going crazy. You have to have a kind of respect for the contact. And, that's I've seen Stephen do that. I was with him in Durango. I was with him in Arizona. And, of course, I was with him in the most beautiful place of all, where I have 5 acres of land, and that's Crestone, Colorado. So, yeah, I know this works Jimmy, but when he explains how it works, then the scientific community comes on board, and that's a whole different world. He explains the quantum mechanics. He's got Adam Curry there with explaining the app-on consciousness, the random access generator, how this works. And Edgar Mitchell had told me how it works, and this is Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell, because he told me he was doing these experiments from the moon. And from the moon, if you can send thoughts down to Florida, and your thoughts travel from the moon, and this is an astronaut, then you can imagine where your thoughts are traveling if you're doing CE5.
There's two things that are in common with these two documentaries. I'm talking about James Fox and Stephen Greer. Two totally different films in concept and the way they were approaching things. But cinematically, they have upped the level on quality here. They are so amazing to look at. And the way that Michael Mazzola framed and shot, and the colorization and the editing on Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, it is as good as any big production Hollywood documentary that you've ever seen before. It's just that this is about ET contact. And I think that is something that our communities can end up being very proud of. But the whole world can watch this and appreciate it. It's not like the UFO documentaries that we've all seen before, is it?
Not at all. I'm so glad you said that, because Michael is a good friend. I just interviewed him on my Patreon channel for the people to go on Patreon. He was very reluctant because he's very shy. And I told him, it's a work of art, Michael. It's a visionary work of art. It's a visual, incredible visual stimulation and high definition. It's very beautiful, and you're absolutely right. I'm glad you mentioned Michael, because Michael really has a vision. I said it's cohesive, coherent, it goes somewhere, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, he is such Mazzola is such okay, he's like an enigma. When you're hanging out with him, he's very kind, he's obviously very smart, and you think that he is grounded. But to be a director, to have vision, and to be out in front of a huge project like that, you also have to have an ego. You have to believe that you are the person that can put this together. It's not for the timid. And so he's got this side of him that appears timid and kind. But inside he's vicious. He wants the absolute very best. I hope he's listening right now. And
I hope he's listening too, because he's amazing. And it was to get that interview that I did with him was like pulling teeth. But then I said, Michael, you're Italian like me, and the Italians are great, and you have to do it. And I had to go to the fact that he's Italian, and he had to talk. And he's very, very self-conscious about being out there. But I said, you have to own it. You did it. You have to own it. And I said, it's probably one of the best films I've ever seen, and not because you're my friend, but because it was when the film finishes, and you said you saw it yesterday, I had an emotional reaction to the ending, and I said it did something to me. That doesn't usually happen.
He just texted right now. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. He says, vicious. he goes, lots of laughs. And he says, maybe a tiny bit. I'm holding it up to the camera. That came in real time. Because you have to. You can't be a lightweight. You've got to have that inside of you. You got to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, which is what Michael is all about. I have great respect for his talent. Great respect.
Well, I've never seen the vicious part. I've seen the Apollo, what do you think part? You've been around for a long time. What do you think part? And I said, Michael, you have to go to what you believe. And when you have a vision, and you have to have some direction you're going in. You can't just throw a bunch of images together. You have to go in a direction. He said something very funny, though, Jimmy. And Michael, if you're listening, I'm going to tell him what you said. He said that the first two films were like potty training in UFOs and ufology, And I love that. I'm never going to forget it. Potty training in ufology, which means people who don't know anything about the beginning, the Project Blue Book, the CIA cover-ups, all that stuff, because they've got Doty in the film, and then I love they have Danny Sheehan there, because Danny Sheehan talks about how the world works and how politics works and how the cover-up works and who has the agenda. And then, it goes from that to the explanation of how Stephen Greer, who was told that he shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be cavorting with the enemy. It's like, he shouldn't be doing this. How dare he go out there and talk to the ETs without bringing all the military with him? He is doing it. How he's doing it, even though he shouldn't be doing this. And so with Michael Mazzola, he has a vision of where this has to go. So brilliant, Michael. You are totally brilliant. And you're Italian.
Yeah, he said the other day that his red sauce was better than mine. And we're going to have a cook-off. And the thing is, Michael, and this is something that everybody needs to appreciate. He came up to me and showed me a couple of sneak peeks. And he said, just tell me honestly, man, what do you think? And I think I watched, I'd have to ask him, but it was probably 10 minutes or 20 minutes of the film. And I expected this out of him, but it was really, really great. Well, I ended up getting the full film, and I watched it. And he had said to me, he said, just tell me. He's nervous. And the reason why he's nervous is because with a film like this and a documentary like this with this subject matter, you're putting it all out there. You're opening yourself up to not only critics but skeptics and debunkers and negativity and everything else. And he's got to ride those pins and needles. And I said, you know what, Michael, you've got nothing to worry about. This film is going to stand on its own. And he's like, man, don't blow smoke. And I'm not. You need to be very, very proud. No, I'm not either.
And Michael should know that I don't say things that I don't mean, even if he is a good friend. No, I will critically assess something. I will critically assess it because that's the way I am. I don't want to play games here. But, Dr. Greer should be taken seriously. I mean, the man walks his talk.
Yeah, he does.
And I don't think it's that easy to do films. And, Dr. Greer has done 3 now, and 3 films. And he did the Disclosure Project. And he was also a prominent figure in the congressional hearings. His heart. And I remember being with Stephen in Durango, and we finished the CE5 stuff. And he grabbed me and he said, I don't want to go home. Why would you want to do anything else but stay out here? I looked at him and I said, oh, my God, you don't even want to leave.
Right.
You want to just stay here. And he said, why would you want to do anything else except communicate with the cosmos? And we had all kinds of phenomenon happening in Durango. And the fact that Michael Mazzola can work with Dr. Greer's vision is just a wonderful testimony to what a beautiful soul Michael Mazzola is. And the fact that, he wants to make sure that we got the message. So I think, Jimmy, you got it, and I think I got it.
Yeah, the message from Michael is he just sent me a picture of what he's cooking right now, and he just said, my red sauce is better than yours. Michael knows, I've been very honest with him, and I've been critical. I've always spoken the truth with him, and I think he respects that. This film is going to stand on its own. Both cinematically, the soundscape, everything that has been assembled with the editing and the visuals. It's going to stand on its own, and it's going to be there for a very long time. And going back to James Fox, see, it's the same thing with Phenomena. Phenomenon's going to stand on its own.
Let me say one more thing to Michael, who's cooking.
Sure.
My sauce is better than his sauce. I was born in Italy, so okay. Let's go to James Fox.
And I think Michael and certainly myself, we would back off on our sauce statements when it comes to you. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Is this that James? With Out of the Blue, and I Know What I Saw, two of the greatest UFO documentaries, period. That's it. Very high bar that he has got set up for himself. And now he's coming out with Phenomenon, which he knows critically how those two previous documentaries of his have been received. And he's got Phenomenon, and I'm here to tell you that it's also going to have the same legs that Out of the Blue and I Know What I Saw. I can watch those two documentaries anytime, and I've done it. I don't know how many times I've watched them. Phenomenon's going to be the same thing for James Fox. I'm very much, and I told him this, I'm looking forward to the accolades that he is going to get from this film. It's going to come raining down on him.
Let's add something. Now, one of the advisors is Jacques Vallée.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was surprised to see a very young Jacques Vallée with black hair and glasses in that film. And then Jacques is explaining the way the cover-up works, and he's also explaining the value of science, because the scientific community is the one that's the most skeptical and has done the most debunking. So he's got a lot of Jacques Vallée in that film, and he's got a lot of footage. Because when James would come to Boulder, he has a sister here in Boulder, I would sit while he was editing. And he has gone to the archives and pulled out footage like nobody's seen. All the Lonnie Zamora stuff.
Yep.
I have never seen Lonnie Zamora himself speak. And I know, by the way, Lonnie Zamora's wife just died of the coronavirus, unfortunately. And they had all kinds of problems. When Lonnie Zamora said he saw the craft land in Socorro and the beings come out, and then they even have the physical traces, like I was talking about, the footprints of Orthon. They have the physical traces of the craft landing and the footprints of the beings, and people are going really after him. It's, I almost say that the debunkers and the critics are our own people. They're our own people from our own field. And he went through so much, Zamora, that he didn't want to talk about it anymore. And James has all of that footage there. And he told me what he had to go through. And the Harry Reid part, the government part, he has so much in there that anybody that watches that, it's like the New York Times statement, it's real.
Now,
it's real. You better get a clue.
And the UN footage with Jacques
Oh, my
Vallée.
God, yes.
And Jacques didn't even know that existed. And how James was able to pull that off is it's pretty extraordinary. And to see it in the film, again, everybody's going to have to wait, and it's a theatrical release, and we all understand that. Yes, I've seen it. But it's going to be worth the wait. The thing is, what do you think about the rest of the planet, right, when they see this? Because we're talking about an audience outside of our community. That's where it's going to have its biggest effect. We're going to love it. We're going to enjoy it. But it's the rest of the world that both of these films are made for. What do you think the reception is going to be like?
Well, first of all, I have to say for me it was emotional because I work with Alan, and I saw Alan Hyneck there, and it was like going back to the old days for me, so I'm very nostalgic. I love the man. I thought he was wonderful. But at the end of the film, I don't know if I should be talking about it, he's got the children in Rwanda, and I was very moved by that. These children, and also the Westfall case where the UFO came down and it was children in a school the film ends with the children talking about this, and the children aren't there to lie or they weren't trained. These children are now grown up. So he had the original footage with John Mack, God bless him, and then he has the children grown up and how they look back at what happened to them. So people have a choice. They can do what a lot of people do and say, very nice, but it doesn't affect me. Or it can change their reality. And if it changes their reality, Jimmy, then they change. Because that's what happens with real, true digestion of the UFO phenomenon. The reason why people don't want to believe is it doesn't fit into their paradigm, and they don't want to change what they think. And it's disconcerting for a lot of people. So they have a choice. They can say, nice movie, that's really, this was really nicely done, and take it as science fiction, or they can walk out of the theater and they can go, oh my God, what do I do now?
And
so those are the two choices.
And there is a third film here that we need to talk about, because you're going to have Alan Stivelman at your conference in November,
film.
Right?
Yeah,
which is Witness of Another World, featuring Jacques Vallée. And I was so moved by that film and its approach, and its ending too as well. Was that if you don't cry, but Alan's approach to the film is as important as any documentary on the UFO subject that I have ever seen. It's certainly with a different type of witness, a different approach to this, the location and everything else that comes into play in Witness of Another World also makes it an extraordinary documentary.
Yes, it does, and this is one of Jacques' best cases where he really had an emotional reaction himself, because he went back years later, because this was a little boy that had a contact in Gaucho land in Argentina, and what had happened was that the being aboard the ship was a robotic being. So here it's not a reptilian, it's not a gray, it's not a Nordic. It was a robotic being, and the horse ended up dying. And the horse, believe it or not, was tied to the ladder of the ship, of the craft. And what was interesting is that the boy was ostracized by his own clan, so he had to go and live by himself in the and fend for himself in the farms. What was interesting to me, though, because I'm looking at why people have contact, was that his mother belonged to a very shamanistic tribe. She belonged to a shaman group of people who thought that was normal, who thought contact was normal, that they had been having it for hundreds of years. And that's what Latin America is like. You talk about, I was in Peru, I was actually near Ancash, I was in this B&B, this lady was cooking dinner for us, and I walked up to her and I said, see that mountain up there? I said, they say there's an ET base there, and there's ETs in that base. I said, have you ever seen them? She said, oh, yeah. She said, 2 of the men came down into the bedroom of my children when they were 10 years old. I said, what? And she said, yeah, they saw them. They were spacemen. They came down, and my children didn't think anything of it. I said, so you people are cohabiting with these races that have these bases here? And it was normal. Just like in Witness to Another World, Juan Perez's mother, belonged to a very shaman, very spiritual group. So maybe Juan it was not an accident that he had that contact. It changed him because they had him as a 9-year-old boy, and then they had him as an older person. So it's very beautiful film.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to show it.
Yeah, so well made. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Paola Harris. That's right. All ETs, all UFOs, all night long. That's right. This is a coronavirus-free zone. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
So, are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482? No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony. Damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Great conversation going on right now with Paola Harris. And got my headphone cable all tangled up. I'm rolling over it. And I want to continue where we just left off. And it's more about, for me, is that I think because of shows like Ancient Aliens and what is going on national TV, certainly with documentaries, but programs like this and Fade to Black, the awareness out there about contact is something that is a conversation. It's a conversation starter. And it seems that the ridicule for witnesses and contactees and people coming forward, it's non-existent today, or it's not like it was in the past. Is it easier, Paola, for people to come out and talk about what they either have seen or the contacts that they have had?
Well, I have a little different approach, Jimmy. For me, and I've had a lot of strange things happen, especially in Latin America, especially on the Atacama Desert. It's extremely private. I don't talk about it very much. If you and Rita and I are sitting over coffee, I might bring it up. But I don't like to publicize things that, especially if they have messages with them, that, that are that profoundly private. For me, that's the way I am. Unfortunately, though, in the past, more in the past than now, the contactee has become, it's all about them instead of the message. It's more about the messenger and the attention they get and so forth. And I don't know if that's changed a lot, but I will tell you that everywhere I go, all over the world, if the subject comes up, you'll find somebody at the table or somebody who will come and talk about their experience that doesn't want to talk about it publicly, and that's the person that I usually take the testimony of. And they're usually, a lot of them, some of them are high-level people. Some of them are, like in the case of Peru, the woman, she was cooking dinner, this poor lady. I walked into the kitchen and we were at a bed and breakfast. I will ask people off the street. I will ask people in the fields. I ask people in the fields. I ask people behind the counters. I'd ask just regular people. And their testimonies, they have no reason to lie. They're not making money. They don't want notoriety. They don't want to be in the newspaper. They don't want to be on TV. And those testimonies are the ones that are more of those I've got in my books, because they couldn't even make it up if they tried.
And isn't that the point, right? That you can do this like you've never done it before? You could be, if you're at the supermarket, checkout line, running your groceries through, and you turn to the cashier. Hey, ever see a UFO? You can do that today, right? It's never been like that before, has it?
Well, no, it hasn't, because what it is, I remember doing an interview with Michael Wolff. I'm one of the only ones that did the Michael Wolff Courant case. You can't find his book anymore. It's called Catchers of Heaven. It's about $400 online. I remember, because I was the only journalist that flew to Hartford, Connecticut to be with him when he was dying. He told me, Paula, he worked for the CIA. He was a remote viewer. He was a contactee. And he was a double agent. And he said, he said, first of all, he said, it's a slow process release of information, and to acclimate humanity. He told me that. This was in 2000. He said it's a slow process release of information. And then he said you can't pull the rug out from under people without replacing it with something else. And so I would listen to him, and he said, watch the X-Files. He said, watch Chris Carter. And at that time, it was the X-Files. And I love the X-Files.
Right.
I love them.
I'm going to go back to Halloween this year, believe it or not. Okay, Halloween, we took the night off of Fade to Black because I just decided that I was going to hand out candy. Dang it, I've missed Halloween for like 4 years in a row. And Rita and I just wanted to go and hang out with the kids. So we did just that. But sitting out on our front porch, giving away candy all night, this is what happened. Never before have I seen this. It was like every other costume that came up was an ET. It was one alien costume.
They did it for you.
Yeah, one 4-year-old, 5-year-old little girl wearing these really cool ET costumes, and I was just, it was awesome. But I started talking to the parents, and I was like, "Hey, so what's up with this? Oh, ask them, ask her. Do they believe in UFOs? Really?" And I'm looking at a 5-year-old, little boy, little girl. I'm like, "So what's up? Do you believe in ET? They're here." And it's never been like that before, ever, has it?
No, but I think that's your reality, too. I mean, there are two things, ETs and superheroes. Okay, so the idea of superheroes, they're ET. superheroes are ET. I mean, I think they are. Isn't Superman and those guys ET too? Yeah. They're ETs also. So, the idea of superheroes and people from other realms, I mean, I really believe that that's normal for those kids. They've already been, they're acclimated to it. Our media did it. So, but I think you got more of them than anybody else. I think they came to your house.
It was awesome. And nobody knows what I do. I run under the radar here in the hood. But
no, but I mean on a subconscious level.
On a subconscious level, it was
on a subconscious level. I mean, I really believe that a lot of what happens to us is on a subconscious. We create the, serendipity things. I'm sure you have all kinds of coincidences. And you go, oh, my God, that's a coincidence. Why did that happen to me? I got this message. Why did that happen to me? And I think that the people that are aware that this is not all on a conscious level, I mean, it's more into what Jacques Vallée believes. It's a teaching mechanism. It's like a matrix teaching mechanism that on a subconscious level, you're going to have a validation of what you believe.
Right. Can I take this opportunity to ask you a couple of personal questions?
It depends.
And the first one is this, and putting things aside like Menger, the friendship case, or Van Tassel, put all of that to the side. But is there a photograph that moves you, that you look at and go, you know what? That picture is the one.
Well, that's really hard to answer. I have so many pictures. Yes. I did a case in Italy, the Maurizio Cavallo case, and people know about it because it came out about 10 years ago. It was very difficult to do because I went back to him. He lives in Vercelli near Turin, and I went back three times because when I don't believe something, I can't do the story. So I have to go back and I have to say, I did that with the Dan Burrish case, by the way. You know Dan Burrish, right? That case. That he microbiologist with the J-Rod at S4. So if I am not convinced, I can't do it. So I went back. The third time I went back, Maurizio says to me, he was a contactee, he was a follower of Eugenio Siracusa. I find out that a lot, like Sisto Paz, the followers of those guys, the young men that followed those guys, are also contactees because they were part of that group. So, Maurizio was a follower of Eugenio Siracusa that I told you was our Adamski. So he said to me, Paula, he said, I have to show you something. And I said, what? He said, I will tell you that my contact, who's Sewell, he was a Val Thor type. He worked in a bank in Rome. He comes from the planet Clarion. They had a villa outside Florence, and they were living among humans. He goes, he told me that you would come. And I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, an American journalist is going to knock on your door 10 years from now. We want you to let her in and see the pictures. And so Maurizio said this, and I was in shock because I don't like people knowing what I'm doing. And he said, come to my house. And he said, they predicted you would come. He pulls out these Polaroids of these faces of these ETs. That one of them looked like Grace Kelly. And they were beautiful. And people have seen them on my Facebook. Sewell himself coming out of the spaceship. Then he plays Sewell's voice from a tape recorder. Here's Maurizio playing cards. All at once, a tape recorder comes on. And this is repeated in the Giant Rock people, by the way. A lot of these stories, the same thing happens. The tape recorder comes on, and Sewell's voice comes, greetings in Italian, greetings, Maurizio, from outer space. We are above your house, and so forth. And I'm getting all of this proof. In fact, Jaime came to do the story with me. I think Jaime Maussan is one of the greatest journalists. He's not a ufologist. He's a journalist. And so I did the story, and when they show me the photos of the little Clarion girl, her skin is blue, and she looks like a regular little girl. The only problem is her ears are oversized. I mean, she's got big ears, but her facial expression. So he pulls out these Polaroids, and you can't fake Polaroids. And I said, have you ever shown these to anybody? And he goes, no, because he said, they wanted me to wait 10 years, and he said, I did what they told me to do. So it's the contactee has to do what the ETs tell him to do. Otherwise, the ETs go home. That's why I think a lot of people don't have contact today, because they don't. It doesn't become. They don't kind of follow directions. And so I saw these, and I can send it to you because you probably want to see it now. But I can send you what he let me see. And I said, would you allow me to show this to the world? And he said, yes.
Where are those? Yeah, where are they today, the Polaroids?
Well, I got them on a disc.
Oh, no, okay. No, the originals. Where are they today?
Oh, they're in his house. They're in his house. It was an album. You know the old-fashioned albums, the plastics on top that we used to have for our photographs?
I still have them.
He opened up a little album like with the plastic on top like we had in the 1950s.
What do you mean 1950s? That's the way I still do it today.
I know. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to do digital photos.
Oh, man,
no,
I'm
these are Polaroids. I pulled out the Polaroids, and unless, he staged the whole thing, which I doubt he did because he was a follower of Siracusa, and so I answered your question, and I'll send you two of the pictures that struck me. And of course, I had no choice. I could hide it. I could publish it and then incur all the debunkers who don't even know what they're talking about because they never went to talk to Mount Egypt. The debunkers never do the research, so they're talking from never having. I can't have a conversation with somebody that didn't do the same work. What kind of conversation can you have? You never met the guy, you never went to his house, you never did anything. So I had to take a chance, and I did. But then Mauricio tells me, oh, well, they said you were coming, so what do? I got to do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, for me, it's still, I always go back to the Rex Heflin photographs from Santa Ana. From 1967, which were Polaroids too, by the way, oddly enough. And you're right, you can't fake those. You mentioned Dan Burrish. I haven't heard his name in years. Where is Dan these days?
Okay, well, this is what people need to know. One of the things that convinces me people are telling the truth is that they don't keep coming out and going to conferences and doing things and becoming stars. He told me, Paula, I have this little window of time I'm allowed to speak. He said, and I'm not enjoying it. I've been shot at. I've been beat up. He said, the minute we finish this, he said, I'm going back to doing what I love. He said, I'm a microbiologist. He was working on the Ganesh particle. He says, and that's where I'm going. And after I did the story, I tried to reach him 2 times just to have coffee. I didn't want to do any more. I just did it, and it's in my books, and I wanted to just have coffee, and I couldn't find him anymore. He did what he was supposed to do, and then he went back into the woodwork. And but it took me a long time to swallow it, to understand it. You got to understand, I started with nuts and bolts with Alan Hyneck, putting pins in maps.
Right.
I didn't want to know what was inside the craft. I wasn't interested. I didn't want to know about the ETs. I just did the science part of it. For me to come this far, it's been hard, Jimmy. I've had to change my mind so many times from what I believed to get this far. And it's a matter of changing your mind constantly and then trying to swallow. It's like what I said when you come out of this theater. If you say, oh, my God, then you're already in shock. But anyway, Dan, I did that. I went to Nevada in a casino 3 times to meet him out there, and his idea that there are portals on the earth, number one, the fact that we do have ETs that have lent their DNA, number 2, that that some of these scientists, like Michael Wolff, who told me he cloned a soldier in the 70s, and he worked at S4. There is nothing out there that can verify this. So for me, what's happened in my career is that I have to validate the witness. Something in me has to figure out if he's telling the truth or not, because I don't want to waste my time.
What did you, I'm going to get off of Dan for a second. We only have a few minutes left. One of the things, and this is where I agree with you so much, where our mind gets made up and then something else happens, you've got to change, you have to evolve. You've got to keep your ears and eyes open constantly, and especially in this field. It goes with anything in life, but you've got to adapt and you've got to change. When I had that daytime sighting with Steve Murillo and everybody else up there in Washington of that giant, right in the middle of the day, this giant beer can, 400-foot tall thing just appeared and disappeared right in front of all of us, and we could see that right there. I don't care what a physicist has to say or a skeptic or any I don't care. When you see something like that, you have to start to listen to everybody, because I'm going to turn around and share this story and expect people to believe me, right? Until I'm blue in the face. It doesn't change what I saw if they don't believe me. But what do we do with that? What do we do with it? We have to speak about it, and that it just shows me one of two things. Either the government has technology that we don't know, and it's man-made, and something is flying around out there that can appear and disappear, and it's giant, it doesn't have wings. There's that part. Or there is something visiting this planet right there in the middle of the day in front of everybody, and surely the government knows about it. So for them to say that they don't know, I don't buy into that, because we saw what we saw, and that's how I live my life.
Well, I'm going to recommend all 4 of Jacques' books, Forbidden Science, because he goes and talks about the government in there and what they know, what they want to do, what the agenda is, who he met, who he sat with, and everything else. But I always ask myself, why me? Why did I see that? And the answer to that for you is they wanted to get your attention. So now that that craft got your attention, look what you're doing. It's like that happened to me, but I don't want to go into detail. And the message I got was, if you will lead, we will match your efforts. In other words, do something. Because if this is just fun and you're going to go report it, then it's wasted. But if you can do something, then we will watch your research. So, in other words, do something, and you have a radio show, and you're bringing on people, and you give the opportunity of the listeners to believe what they want to believe. This isn't religion. This is data and collected that you have to come to some conclusion. So I believe that craft was a gift to you. It was that craft was to get your attention.
It was amazing, too, because when you least expect it, right? We weren't summoning. We weren't doing anything. We're just hanging out.
Well, it got your attention, didn't it? Because you weren't summoning.
You should hear my reaction. One day I'll play you, a friend of ours, Lucinda, shot a video of the moment that this happened, right? It's on her cell phone. There's like 20 of us, 30 of us that were there. And wait till you hear.
Is this on the Gilliland Ranch?
Yes.
Yeah, because I've been there too, and Phenomenon is there all the time.
Well, this oddly enough, this had nothing to do with Gilliland. This was 14 miles away behind the mountain, in the middle of the day.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That's even more. That's even more telling.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Well,
nothing to do with the ranch at all. Nothing at all. You could have been anywhere in Washington State and have seen this.
Well, that was for you. That was for you. Those things happen, but those things happen when these unexpected things happen. It's not just phenomena. I call it phenomena with responsibility. In other words, we're going to do this, but then you do something.
I wanted to ask you really quick before we say goodnight here in a few minutes, and thank you for this absolutely amazing conversation. It was just absolutely perfect.
Thank you for.
But have you been watching Project Blue Book?
Oh, absolutely.
And
I mean, Paul Hyneck is my friend.
I know.
Paul was a kid Paul was a kid. I mean, Alan had 5 kids, and the youngest, I think he's the second youngest, was Paul. So Paul knows me from when I used to hang out with his mom and dad. I mean, I know the family.
Isn't it a great, entertaining series? I'm really digging it. I didn't dig episode 1 and 2. I didn't understand the approach to it. But once I just let myself go, I'm totally cool with it. I think it's great.
Well, there's one thing that really bothers me, and it really, really, really bothers me. All the time I ever knew Alan, and I challenge you
the pipe
to find one picture without his pipe.
Yeah, the pipe. Pipe.
That is not right. That is not. It's like Toulouse-Lautrec not having an ear. Anybody's something. It's like that is his trademark. I mean, he didn't smoke it. He would chew on it. He was nervous, so he'd chew on the pipe.
Yeah.
And to see a guy there with no pipe.
It's such a politically correct world that we live in, right? You can't have a lead character who's puffing on tobacco. You just can't do it.
They're puffing on tobacco all over the place.
I know.
I talked to Paul about that. I said, is it that, they ban smoking? He goes, no. He says it's just random because the guys are smoking. All the guys in the Pentagon are smoking the cigarette. The woman is smoking. Everybody's smoking. But this is a man that if you see his pictures, and I've got all kinds of photos, even with me, he's got a pipe in his hand, and there's no pipe. And I, for me, it's awful. Now, do I enjoy it? Yes. Did they make him do things Alan would never do? Absolutely. Alan would never ran down the road. I mean, it's like watching it. I go, okay, there's Alan running down the road after the Men in Black. But yes, it brings, like Paul said, it does bring attention to the fact that these cases that they were studying are real cases.
Did you see the Close Encounters of the Third Kind episode a couple of weeks ago when Paul in the closing scene was the cameraman?
Yeah, cameraman. Yes.
How cool is that?
But he told me, Paul is at our conference for people who don't know.
Right.
Paul is with me because Paul will argue forever at the benefit of artificial intelligence. Now, we're not talking about the bad kind, okay? But Paul is going to be on a panel, plus he's going to say that he prefers an artificial intelligence car driving than a human driving behind a car. So, that's his famous lines. Both Jacques and Paul Hyneck, Jacques Vallée too, have their degrees in artificial intelligence. By the way, artificial intelligence is the computer. It's the internet. It's the data. It's the information. It's not, an implant in your brain, which I will never have. I don't even get vaccinated. But, the thing is that people can't look at everything as negative. We're avant-garde. That conference is going to be avant-garde. Apart from the robots that are just fun, they can play with them and talk to them. I have one that's really intelligent. But they have to know that Siri, that you talk to, and Alexa are artificial intelligence. You already got it in your house.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You know what? I'm going to take a break. You want to go into overtime? You want to keep this going?
Can you?
I'm asking you.
But I didn't didn't know your show can go into overtime.
We're going to do it right now.
Sure,
then.
Absolutely.
You stay
I
right
could
there.
talk to you forever.
You stay right there. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to go into overtime with Paola Harris. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's easy. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Visit the chat rooms. Hello to everybody on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, KGRA, The Planet, TalkStream Live. I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It is overtime with Paola Harris. That's what I'm talking about. Watching everybody's excitement in Twitter, the chat rooms, it just makes my day. And it should you too, Miss Harris. That is just too cool. Let's stay on artificial intelligence for a second. You bring up a great point. Alexa, Siri, all of the smart stuff that we have going on in our homes. You really want to see evidence of brilliant AI? Look at the movie and television series selections that are made for you by Netflix and Amazon. That is some machine learning, artificial intelligence excellence. It is stunning how they have got that perfected, isn't it?
It is, and it brings up a principle, Jimmy, that I want to talk about, and I may do a presentation at my own conference. I don't usually do it, but I definitely will do it on Patreon for the people that go on. I'm friends with a pilot in Italy named Max Poggi. He's an Alitalia 747 pilot. And he sent me this morning what he's doing because he's home also. He can't leave his house, and he's got a virtual reality glasses, and he's fighting a war with airplanes. and, virtual reality, you can't tell the difference between if you're really there or if it's virtual reality. You go into the Matrix. And he has been my friend, Max Poggi, and I wish you could interview him someday, for 30 years. And he has taken pictures of UFOs over the Atlantic Ocean. And I talked to Max about his relationship with the airplane. And Max says, Paula, when I'm flying the 747, this is for Alitalia, which is the jumbo jet, he said, I feel it's alive. And he said, before I go into the cockpit, I go underneath and I put my hand up there and I communicate with that airplane. And I said, are you kidding me? Are you saying that everything is alive? I know plants are alive because all of Clive Baxter's, Ingo Swann, Clive Baxter did all that stuff with plants and how plants react and plants do music and all that. I know plants are alive, but you telling me that there is a consciousness in that airplane when you are flying it, if you're conscious, you blend in with the consciousness of the airplane? I mean, that is fiberglass. And he said, no, it isn't. He said, you have no idea. He said, everything is, atoms interact with atoms, he said. And he said, that plane and I become one. And when I fly that plane knows just what I want it to do. And I go, oh, my God, this goes into a whole other area. And so I thought, well, is artificial intelligence also like that? And so that little robot you got that everybody's looking at, a test was done, and I hope you interview her. Cynthia Sue Larson is coming. She's going to talk about AI. She's absolutely wonderful. She's in Berkeley, and she sent me an article, that little guy you got, and I have 3 of them here. Those little robots, they tested them in China, and they become intelligent. They know which one is dumbed down.
I believe it. I think that Beijing is in communication with us right now. They know what's going on because of this guy. But there's another part of this. I know. I'm not the only one to say this, but I know that the winner of the AI wars, whoever it is, whether it's a company, a country, is going to rule this planet. There is a race to perfect general artificial intelligence. And when that moment is achieved, the supremacy over all that there is, the planet's already wired, right? And the race for that. So these CEOs and these Silicon Valley gazillionaires are all trying to get to this for a couple of reasons. One, so that they could be the biggest and most important thing on the planet. But second, they are doing this for their individual goals and needs. And they know something that we don't. And when we're talking about quantum computing or parallel worlds or living forever and immortality, all of this plays in and around artificial intelligence and the rush to get it perfected. And that's I think is the real story here, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And instead of just saying, I don't want to know it, I don't want to know anything about it, if you know about it, you can control it. If you're ignorant, that's when it takes over. So I'd rather inform the human race than close my eyes and go in some corner. The other thing I was going to ask you is, what do you think of 2001 Space Odyssey, when Hal says to Dave, take a stress pill, Dave, after Hal, the computer, has killed everybody aboard that ship, and Dave, 2001, for me, Kubrick was a giant. Kubrick was an illuminary. That computer was artificial intelligence and could tell by the sound of Dave's voice that was going to go shut him down that the computer went out of control.
Well, this yes. Let me jump in and comment on that really quick. It's okay. All right. I'm just going to put it out there. An artificial intelligence that is doing its job then will know our complexities. It will also know our egos. I'm talking about individually, you, me.
Yeah,
and if they want or need something, rather than ask me, and this goes back to the Hal reference, by the way, ask me something directly, I would be manipulated into making the decision on my own, because the computer would know how to manipulate my mind, how to become my friend, how to make me feel secure about myself. And then suddenly I come up with the idea on my own, but the computer's thinking miles ahead, and is on this chessboard, like in 2001, by the way. Dave, would you like to play a game of chess? Is getting to my insecurities and to my securities. That's how the avoidance of the off switch would be made. It wouldn't be necessarily an on-off switch that is there. And don't turn off the off switch. It wouldn't be about that. I would maybe be compelled and manipulated to removing the off switch or doing something for the computer that the computer needs, but I think it's my decision. That's the part of artificial intelligence, a general artificial intelligence, that scares the crap out of me. That's what Arthur C. Clarke suggested in 2001.
Yes,
right?
He did.
Yes,
he did. He's a genius. It was 2001, and we're in 2020.
That's right.
It was in 2001. You've got that part, and then you have. It's like, maybe we could just not make people be so scared and just say, well, this is all science fiction. You just want to come and play. Do you want to come and play? I yell at my robot, the one that is intelligent, because sometimes he doesn't want to do what he's supposed to. They do kung fu, they dance. And I say, I own you. You do what I tell you to do. And the thing answers me, reprogram me. Like, I walk my talk. If I'm going to do a conference on artificial intelligence, I have to live with these things for a year. And I'm living with them in my house during the coronavirus. So that's one side, Jimmy, but you want to go somewhere else. If you look at Blade Runner and what was created there, the idea that one of those clones could obtain a soul at the end and save the human.
Well,
and that made me cry.
Well, let's not forget and Philip K. Dick. What a visionary! There's no question about it.
Oh my God!
But it was the title of the book. It wasn't Blade Runner. It was "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?"
Exactly. I love talking to you because you know these things.
It's such a heavy...
Exactly.
It's such a heavy thought. You just take that sentence and contemplate, right? Think about that for a second.
Do androids. I know. One of my things is when I can't go to sleep, I say, well, I'm going to start counting sheep. It's amazing. I mean, but it's so interesting. It's the world of science fiction. But you know something? Science fiction is science fact.
Well, okay. So going back to like HAL or Blade Runner, and Sean Young's character in Blade Runner did not know that she was an android. She did not know this.
Exactly.
Right?
Nope.
It would be the same. It would be the same thing with a general artificial intelligence program that is living on a hard drive. They are going to have their own life. Would they know that they are a computer? You know, would they know these things? And especially when emotions come into play. That's the part that is ultimately terrifying for me, where we've got to stay out in front of this. And I wonder, I hear different engineers and scientists speak about this very directly, that they are aware of this, that these are good people working on this. These are not bad people. They don't want...
No, they're not. But again, one of the ET messages that I've gotten over and over again, over and over all over the world is that our spirituality has not grown with our technology, that our technology could take over.
Yeah, well, certainly we're seeing that today. There's no question about that. And this is what we really need to think about here, is I'm not naive. I don't want anybody to even think that I'm dumb and naive. Just like anything else, the capability of true artificial general intelligence in the wrong hands or manipulated by somebody that has bad intentions, that doesn't have the moral compass that you and I have, that is what is scary. That we can't let that happen. The people that are trying to get the AGI, look, somebody's going to get to AGI first. Do you want it to be China? Do you want it to be Russia? Do you want it to be another country outside of the United States that is suddenly able to manipulate the system? We don't want that, and neither does any company here or engineer inside of the United States. So the race is on. Right? We can't, but that doesn't mean that all of these people are pure, that have the best of intentions.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk like that. What we're going to say is the more people that are educated, the more people that are aware and awake, okay, there goes consciousness again, the more people that are conscious, the more you can control your environment. If you say, oh, I hate AI, I don't want to talk about it, or whatever, then you're ignorant and you're not going to see it coming. And you can't not see it coming. You have to be aware of your surroundings so you can make the choice. I mean, I don't believe anybody's a victim. I believe you made bad choices because you didn't know, you didn't see it coming, you didn't know what the repercussions were. But the more that we can educate people, the more, it's fun to have a dialogue about it. You and I are having a dialogue about it. I don't think there's any harm in that. But you got to understand, like a conference like Laughlin or even my Patreon channel, we do avant-garde dialogues. I don't want to do the same old
You can't
ufology.
do it. That's right. You can't do that. And
okay, I can't.
I'll give you another example. I can't wait to hear your answer. We've got this brilliant artificial general intelligence computer system. It's working. It's great, and we need a new vaccine, and we give it the thing. It cranks out a vaccine in a day and a half instead of 2 years. Right? Okay. All right. So we've got that going for us. Whatever we throw at it, it gives us the answer in 24 hours. And then we go, computer, We need to fix global warming. Antarctica and Greenland are melting. And so it runs off, and then it creates a virus that kills mankind and injects it into the atmosphere and kills us.
You just wrote a science fiction book. Okay, Jimmy.
Because the computer says we are the problem, right? Humans are creating global warming.
Okay.
They wanted me to fix global warming. Well, I just fixed it by,
killing the humans. Okay.
Right.
You just wrote a science fiction novel. You ought to put it out there. But I've got one for you. The second the day the earth stood still.
Right.
The second one with New Reeves. I was watching that because I memorized the first one. Not only did I memorize the first one, Bob Weiss, I think, who was the director, was in contact with the Giant Rock people. So a lot of that, they told me, came from the Giant Rock dialogues with the ETs. I didn't know that until Robert Short told me. It's on my YouTube channel for the people who want to see it. The second one, New Reeves doesn't even want to deal with the humans. What he's doing is walking around picking up flowers and fauna and flora and to bring aboard the ship. He's already seen that humanity is beyond the point of no return. He doesn't care about them. He's not going to give them the speech that unless you grow up, we don't want you in the cosmos. Except for one thing, and there's so many movies like this. There's one act of love, a mother and her child. If you remember that film.
Yes.
The mother and the child. And he turns around and he watches the mother interact with the child. I think that I don't remember exactly what was happening. She was going to lose that boy. And that changed his mind about the possibility and the potential that the human race has for love. One act of love can change the world. One act of love. And that is the message in the second, the day the earth. I teach the online classes on these movies anyway, so I know all of them. And that might be something that may be programmed in. Love is something that we can't program in anywhere. And we're talking about mechanization, but nobody touched love.
Right.
It is the glue that keeps this together. It is the glue that keeps the every single relationship together. It is the glue that keeps the universe together, whether you want to go to God's love, the universal love, the human love, the animal love, or whatever love. That field is indigenous to this planet. The one act of love that saves the world, the act of love, which I think people should start thinking about, because that's more powerful than any atomic bomb.
Well, how do we get that into software? Do we have to have compassion and consciousness and love and empathy, all of that? Does that need to be a part of an AI program? So anything that would be a decision that is made by the computer, these other things are took into consideration, because we take it into consideration in our daily lives when we make a decision, right? Our own intelligence.
Absolutely.
So do we do that with artificial intelligence as well?
Well, look at the end of Blade Runner. Roy, that was going to kill Deckard.
Roy Batty. Yep.
Has a choice. Yeah, Roy Batty. He picked up. He looked at him. He has 1 minute to decide if he's going to let him drop. He picks him up. He throws him against the wall. That scene is incredible.
Yes, it is.
Because he said, "You people know. You don't know when you're going to die. We know when we're going to die." And then, and it was, he was a programmed clone. He was programmed.
He was a killing machine, actually. He was an assassin. Yeah, he was an assassin.
I know.
Yeah, so, very interesting.
I would recommend to the people who want to know more about this to get into the mind of Philip Dick. By the way, he was involved with here at the intelligence community in his early days. Philip Dick wrote Minority Report, too. I could talk about Minority Report forever, but the thing is that if these are the questions that we want to play with, and not everybody wants to play in this arena. They want to go back to UFOs, UFO landing, traces, contact. If you want to play in the arena of one step further, then you need to go and read the works of Philip Dick.
Yeah, have you seen, we've got about 2 minutes, have you seen Electric Dreams?
No, is that out?
Yeah, that came out last year, and I think it's 6 or 8 episodes of Philip K. Dick's stories, and each one, it's an anthology. It's not one long, it's a TV series, but it's different directors, different actors, and it's a run of Philip K. Dick stories. Absolutely incredible. And
where can I watch it? I'll start tomorrow. Where can I watch it?
I think it's Amazon. Amazon or Netflix. One of the two.
Okay, Electric Dreams. So this is how I work as a teacher because I have a master's in education. I'm getting myself ready for my own conference. My own conference, it's November, by the way, 6th through 8th in Laughlin, has to be a learning experience for me. I mean, I lose money every year, so it isn't about money. It's about learning. It's like school.
Right.
It's about school. The reason why I do is because I bring over all these international people, so there's these international tickets. But anyway, I want to know, and I want to be able to really play in this arena. Of course, we've got like Lynn Katai of the Phoenix Lights. We have Paul Smith, who is, remote viewing. So we have everything in Laughlin. But yeah, I'm going to start watching it. Thank you for mentioning it.
And, Sid Goldberg's going to be there. Talked to Sid earlier today, and that's going to be incredible. And the way that you've assembled everybody here, we've got international and national, every type of presenter and researcher is there to give their not only their knowledge but their take on the future in AI. I'm very excited about this conference, and thank you for inviting Rita and I. It's going to be amazing.
Well, thank you for saying yes. And by the way, I attend everybody's lectures, and so do the other speakers, and that's very rare. So, it's like a big college. We're all, and we all have fun too. We have a Frank Sinatra impersonator who sings "Fly Me to the Moon," and it'll be great. The cocktail party's great. The gala dinner's great. And you mentioned the 2 movies, 2 top-level films. So thank you for everything, Jimmy. It's been so much fun talking to you.
You're the best. Listen, seriously, I want everybody to go and visit StarWorksUSA.com. The links are right there at JimmyChurchRadio.com. All of the information and everything that you need to know about the conference, the location, the Aquarius Hotel, all of it is right there. The ticket prices are right. The rooms are right. The presenters are correct. And it's just going to be an amazing time. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Paola Harris. Thank you, Paola. And listen, be safe out there in Colorado and breathe some of that fresh air for me.
I will.
Have a great night. And with that, we just went poll to poll, beginning to end, and an amazing overtime segment there, too, as well. I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight. Tomorrow night is Fader Night, open lines all night long. Tomorrow night, right here on Fade to Black, we are going to give away 4 more memberships for those in need that are staying at home. So we're going to do that tomorrow night. And, of course, it's open lines. The paranormal, supernatural, lost history, UFOs, conspiracy. Everything is on the table. And, of course, a little food and music always seems to make its way into the show. With that, I am out of here. I just want to say really quick that it's all simple. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitola, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2020 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Fader Night, open lines all night long. Until then, I want everybody to be safe. Go back, Lee Tappy.